Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cricket Forum. Thank you for tuning in. And in the season of Christmas, as we approach the end of the year, I really do hope that you are staying safe, and I pray that you will be safe. Please enjoy the season and stay close to your loved ones. Be careful on the roads. Yesterday, news came that Cricket West Indies had appointed Andre Coley, the Jamaican, as interim coach of their team to tour South Africa and Zimbabwe. Now, we broke it here first. I was on the road, so I could not get to my studio to do a broadcast. But if you look in the community tab, you will see that I made that post about 2:30. We broke it here first again. We were first in breaking the news that Andre Coley had been appointed interim coach of the West Indies cricket team to tour Zimbabwe. We did that at 2:30. No one else broadcast it then. So again, the Cricket Forum was first. Look in our community tab and you see it. Now, my question, someone told me that Andre Coley is much like me. He's firm, he's stern, he's clear, he knows what he's all about. I was told that Andre Coley is just like me. But I'm here to tell you that if Andre Coley was just like me, he would not have taken the job as an interim coach. Because that's what has been puzzling me. Why an interim coach? And if you look scrolling across the bottom of the screen, you will see that Coley from 2010 have been prepared for this position to coach the West Indies cricket team. Now, and that's why I go back to the question and ask, why do you appoint him as an interim coach? It can't be good for West Indies cricket going through this phase to have an interim coach. Because immediately that you appoint an interim coach, you weaken the power of the coach. These players with their ego and their laziness, their poor work ethics, are not going to respond favorable to an interim coach, because those players know that the interim coach is only there for a short time and they have nothing to prove to him. They know that is only 2 series, one against Zimbabwe and one against South Africa. I am not in agreement with the appointment of the interim coach. I know Andre Coley. That's his life dream. And everything he has done since 2010 has been geared towards being West Indies cricket coach. The other challenge that Coley is going to face, apart from the fact that he's an interim coach, there are players in that dressing room with their big egos who are going to ask Coley if he had ever played for the West Indies. Coley is going to say to a player, I want you to perform X task, and the player is going to say, have you ever played for the West Indies? I am almost sure that scenarios, maybe not in that exact way, but scenarios like these will come up. This is going to be one of the big issues that he has to contend with. Have you ever played Test cricket? That's one of the big issues you will have to contend with. I believe, in my opinion, that Coley is one of the most best prepared coach in the region. I think he's technically sound. He's a good tactician. But the fact that he had not played Test cricket and the fact that he was appointed an interim coach and the players know they know that he will just be there for a short time. Will he be able to get the maximum out of these players who we have seen demonstrated in the past player power? We have seen demonstrated in the past a lackadaisical attitude toward training, who have demonstrated poor work ethics. So the big question on my mind, why did Andre Coley decided to take the position as interim coach? I know that it is his life dream, as many other coaches in the West Indies, to want to coach the West Indies senior team. It is their pipe dream, it's their life dream. But why put yourself in such a compromised position to take the job as an interim coach? He should not have done it. I am happy for him. I'm happy that West Indies respect him that much. Or do they respect him? Do they respect him enough? If West Indies cricket had respected Coley enough and believe in his ability and trust his ability and have confidence in him, why then you did not give him the job on a full-time basis? Why don't give him the job on a full-time basis, even a one-year contract? Why an interim coach with these players who are not going to listen to him? And to make it worse, you're telling them that he's only here for 2 test series. And right now, if I was to bet on who's going to win that series against Zimbabwe, I may well go with Zimbabwe. Although their batting is a little suspect, but I would trust that maybe their bowling would get them over the line. When it comes closer to the series, I'll make a prediction. But his authority is significantly reduced as an interim coach. Appoint the man a full-time coach. If you have confidence in him, after coming off that debacle in Australia, it is timid. It was timid on the path of Cricket West Indies to appoint him as an interim coach. They have 2 months. When in the history of West Indies cricket, and I know you in the chat, you in this community, you know more than I. And so maybe someone in the community can tell me if there's ever been another time in the annals of West Indies cricket when the coach was an interim appointment. So why go that way now? When the team is apparently at its weakest, at its lowest level, you're going to appoint a coach and reduce his authority by appointing him an interim coach on a short-term basis? Will the West Indies players listen to Coley? Will they ask him if he had ever played Test cricket? These things are significant. And as we see, and as I've said, since 2010, he has been preparing for this role. And I have no doubt in his ability. I have no doubt in Coley's ability. I think he's a good tactician. I think he's technically sound. I think he's firm. But this is Cricket West Indies. And listen now, Coley's under a lot of pressure, because if he tried to be too firm and the players rebel, who you think Cricket West Indies is going to get rid of? They are going to get rid of Coley. Let me take some of your comments. Good morning again, everyone. Top of the morning, Mr. Casanova. He is a proven developer of talent. Yes, Giovanni Reid, I agree with you 100%. And that is why I don't understand why they appoint him interim coach, because he has won so much already at the regional level. He has done so much. I don't know why. Why don't give the man the job on a full-time basis? Why appointing him interim coach for these egotistic players to lay into him? Breaker Benjamin, they should hire Shivner in Chanderpaul, Sir Curtly Ambrose. I'm coming to that later in the broadcast, Baker Benjamin. I'm going to come to that later in the broadcast. They respect him. He's the academy coach. Coley's job is to train the other coaches and player development. Yeah, break a bench. Thank you, Giovanni Reid. What West Indies need to do is to play more tests. Sheldon Smith, better to be an interim coach for West Indies than not to be an interim, nor a full-time coach for West Indies at all. The possibilities that they might hire him full-time as well. I take that point, Sheldon. I really take that point, and I understand that point. This is his life dream to be appointed West Indies coach, whether interim or permanent, is his life dream. So he's going to grab at it. And I do not see him rejecting the offer when he was made the offer to be West Indies interim coach. But I'm saying that this is not a good career move for him to accept the responsibility to be an interim coach of a weak team with poor work ethics, with indisciplined players, with players who have a huge ego, an ego bigger than their talent, and players, a team that is known to be ruled by player powers. When Cricket West Indies reduced his authority by appointing him interim coach, I don't think that was a good move. And yes, Coley will not reject it, as Sheldon said, because it is better to be interim coach of West Indies than none at all. But maybe he could have negotiated better. One of the things that I am hearing is that they wanted only to appoint him to coach the Zimbabwe series, and he negotiated that he needs the South Africa series too. I heard that was part of the negotiation, because initially they only want him to coach the Zimbabwe series. Therefore, it appears that Cricket West Indies does not have much confidence in Coley, or they have another coach lined up. That's why they appoint him interim coach. The players would know this too. If I can know it, that Cricket West Indies actually have another coach lined up, how much respect are they going to show to Coley? How much? These players, how much? What can Coley tell them to do? Are they going to listen to Coley? Now, the question I want to ask though, is it that Coley got this job because no one else applied for the job? Did Cricket West Indies advertise the position of a senior team coach? Did they advertise this position? Do we know? I have not seen an advertisement. And as someone who sleep, eat, drink, talk cricket every day, I have not seen an advertisement where Cricket West Indies advertised for a coach. So, and I know that everyone knows that there's a vacancy. So people will put in their application without an advertisement. But how many persons applied for the position? Did Andre Coley actually apply for the position? Did he? Or was it because no one else was available? No one else was available, and they need to fit in. They need to fit in a coach, so they turn to their academic coach. Was that the reason why Coley was given this job? Or did he actually apply and there were more applicants to the job? Who were these other applicants? How was the process? What about the process and the methodology that was used to eliminate the other applicants if there were applicants? What was the instrument? What was the instrument that Cricket West Indies used if there were other applicants for the job? What instrument Cricket West Indies used to determine that Andre Coley is the best man for the job? And if he scored the highest mark on that instrument, which we trust was objective, if he scored the highest mark, why do you appoint him interim coach? Why didn't you appoint him a permanent coach? So if there were other applicants for the job, interviews were done, and Coley came out with the highest score, why didn't you appoint him a permanent coach? Why? And if there were no other applicants and you just take him from the academy as the head coach of the academy, then say that. Then say that. Or is it that you are too embarrassed to say that there were no applicants for the job because no one really wanted the job? These are questions that you have to answer. Cricket West Indies need to answer some questions here, because I cannot understand why you appoint. We need clarity. We need clarity on why Coley was appointed interim coach. Because if he scored the highest mark in the interview, with all the training that Coley had been through as assistant coach to the 2016 team that won the World Cup, he was the assistant coach to Simmons. With all of this, he have won the CPL as assistant coach to Chanderpaul. He has won with the Hurricane, the Volcanoes, the Windward Volcanoes. He has won a Super 50 title with them as the head coach in 2018. He has been assistant coach to many West Indies teams. That means he comes with a great resume. And if he scored the highest mark in the interview, why shortchange the man by appointing him interim coach and don't give him the full responsibility? I will come to that a little later. Now, Andrew Richardson, the Jamaican coach who recently won the Super 50, my sources are telling me that Andrew Richardson will be Andre Coley assistant coach. So the former West Indies pace bowler, I think he played one match for the West Indies. I think he played one match for the West Indies. It can always be researched. Andrew Richardson, the present coach of the Jamaican Scorpion, will be Andre Coley assistant. As you would have heard, Desai and Estwick, their contract will not renew and they are gone. They will be no longer be part of the West Indies setup. That's Estwick and Desai. With all the breaking down of the players, I am wondering when the physical trainer is going to go to. Because these players, the physiotherapist and the strength and condition coach and even the team doctor, when are they going to go? With so many players breaking down, when are they going to go? They should be on their way out also. And I, for one, know that Andre Coley has a lot of confidence in Anthony Kepper, the present strength and physical trainer of the present fitness coach and strength and conditioning coach of the Jamaican Scorpion, who also worked with the Jamaica Talawas in the CPL, Anthony Kepper. I know that Andre Coley really wants to have him as his physical trainer on that West Indies setup, And with all the breakdown of the players that is taking place, isn't it time that the physical trainer, the doctor, and the physiotherapist give way to someone else? Because West Indies players are breaking down left, right, and center. So Andrew Richardson will be, and you hear that first right here, Andrew Richardson will be Andre Coley assistants in the Cricket West Indies setup. Now look at some of your comments there. Just going through some of your comments. Mr. Casanova, you be in the setup of West Indies, but not the head coach. Maybe he could be the head coach in the region, but not the West Indies coach. Coley should be coaching the young and upcoming youth. If that is the decision, Mr. Casanova, and I have nothing against what you said, if that is the decision, then to avoid the speculation, Cricket West Indies must come and say, we do not see him as the man to take us forward, but no one else applied for the position. And Chanderpaul is not available as yet because we really want to give Chanderpaul the job. So, but we're going to just let Coley hold forth. They need to say that. They need to be open and transparent. Because to appoint Coley without being open and transparent, as I said, we want to know if he went to an interview and if he got the highest score in the interview. That's why he was given the job. If he got the highest score in the interview, he should not be appointed interim coach. He should be appointed permanent coach. But if there were no one to interview and you're just giving him the job to hold the space until Chanderpaul is ready, then say that. So I have nothing against what you said. You have said, Mr. Casanova, nothing at all. And to not take the interim might rule him out for consideration for future full-time coaching. That's a risk he has to take. I think they want Coley to be the top region coach. Well, cool. I have no comment. I have no disagreement with that. I agree he will not be respected. That he may never play for West Indies. It's true, Tony. It's true. These guys are going to ask him. See, they got rid of Estwick and Desai. Open the line. Open. Oh, thank you. Okay, Sheldon. Giovanni Reed. True. Tony, our players don't respect players in the general either. Tony, our players don't respect past players in general either. That is true. That is true. They don't. They are egotistic. I mean, why aren't they playing more tests? West Indies for the next ICC cycle, West Indies will only be playing 26 tests in the 4 years. 26 tests. The next ICC cycle, from 2023 to 2027, West Indies will only be playing 26 tests and 73 T20. Mr. Casanova, I don't think CWI has a bunch of people lined up for the job. Hence the reason it took them so long to even get an interim coach. Exactly, Mr. Casanova. I agree with that 100%. And Cricket West Indies administration need to change. If they want people to coach the team, they have to take away the power from the players and give the coach the power. These players squeal too much, and whenever they squeal, it leads to a controversy, and it's always the coaches that are blamed because the players do not want to work hard. I have said that so many times. They don't. Coley has everything to gain if he can get a series win against Zimbabwe and a draw against South Africa. I agree with that, Michael Caine. I agree with that 100%. But the challenge is, as an interim coach, are the players going to show him the respect? Are the players, in other words, going to play for him? Are they going to really put their body on the line for him, knowing that after South Africa, he may well be gone and he would not be able to affect their future career? So that's what I'm saying. Are these players going to put their body on the line, so to speak, for Coley? Are they going to play for him? For want of a better term, are they willing to die for him? I'm not asking or saying that anyone should die for another one, but for want of a better term, are they willing to die for him, knowing that he's only the interim coach? And are those egos in that dressing room, are they going to mention the fact that he had not played Test cricket? These are real questions. I wish Coley all the best, especially as a Jamaican. I've never talked to the man yet. I don't know the man personally. I don't think I've ever seen him up close yet. So I wish him all the best. But is he going to get the support of these players who know that he has never played Test cricket and he's only there for 2 series? Is he? Sachin Singh, good morning. Coley is the best coach in the region. I don't have an argument with that. I think if he's not the best, he's in the top 3. That's my opinion. So I don't have an argument with that Sachin Singh. He is technically good. He's tactically sound. He's a good motivator. He's firm. He pays a lot of attention to details. He's a good coach. He's a good coach. If he's not the best, he's in the top three, Sachin Singh. I don't have any issue with that. He's all, yes, as you see scrolling along the bottom there, Sachin Singh, I've listed the things that Coley have done since 2010. So you can read those, Sachin Singh. Zimbabwe is a weaker team, West Indies, than West Indies. Zimbabwe is a weaker team. West Indies, to shoot best them, South Africa, it will be about survival of the fittest. Mr. Casanova, I don't think our bowling is better than Zimbabwe bowling, but I think our batting is better than Zimbabwe batting. That's my opinion on it. I think Zimbabwe bowling is probably better than ours, but our batting is better. K. Karras, Cedarburg had to hire someone because no one of note applied. That's the point I make, and that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that, that no one of note applied, so they have to just pick the man who is at the academy, who they know is not going to say no because it is his lifetime dream. Chanderpaul not available until later, so they are waiting for him. I think so too. I think so too, Mr. K. Karras. I think so too. Breaker Benjamin. Coley see a chance for an easy payday, couple thousand US dollars for a few weeks. Why don't take it? Why don't take it, Breaker Benjamin? Good morning, Christopher here, Paul. Good morning. I want Chanderpaul, not Coley. You want Chanderpaul, not Coley. Coming to that. The election is coming up, so it will be up to the new board to hire a coach. A very good point, Sheldon. Very, very good point. I've never thought of that, but that makes sense. Maybe, true, that makes sense. The election coming up in March. You got it to the Sheldon. The election is coming up in March, and so Ricky Skerritt is saying, let us appoint a coach for these two series, and the new president, the new board, will have a clear mandate. They will not be saddled with a coach that we appointed. Very good point, Sheldon. Very good point, Sheldon. Big point. Big point, Sheldon. Thank you for that. Shiv with Tage in the side might be a conflict of interest. Sachin might is the operative word here because we have seen in the past, not necessarily in West Indies cricket, but in world sport, where the son is playing for the team that the father is coaching. So might is the operative word here. And Ambrose and Chanderpaul partnership would be best out of everyone right now. Could be they won the CPL together, so it could be. Cedarburg, I don't believe Coley could lead the West Indies team in the future. Simple as that. I believe so too. I believe so. But I don't want to ignore the point that Sheldon made though. It's a good point that Sheldon made. This is also a good point that you're making, Karras, because that is my belief. I don't think Cedarburg has the confidence in Coley to lead the team in the future. And because they don't have anyone of note, and they probably want Chanderpaul, but Chanderpaul is not yet available. So that is my reason. But there's a good point that Sheldon made, which makes sense. That this board do not want to saddle the new board with a head coach. So they appoint him for the two series. And when the election comes up at the end of March, the new coach, the new administration can choose their head coach. So it's two good points. And I've always said, this community is very deep. Why do you want West Indies to give you this information? No other countries give out interviews process. No, I'm not asking for the interview process. I am saying, Giovanni Reid, if they interview 5 candidates, and nothing wrong to publish the instrument that they use, it will show us how objective their questioning were. Nothing, and it will show us how they mark each question. They don't have to give the score of each individual. And not because other regions are not doing it, we don't have to always wait on them. And with Cricket West Indies in so much controversy over everything that they do, it is better for them to be transparent. So I'm not asking for the scores of the players. What I'm asking is for the instrument. It's for the instrument that they should release the instrument that they use to do the interview. Now, the other thing is that why I'm asking for this, if there was an interview and Coley got the highest mark, why appoint him interim coach? Unless it goes back to what Sheldon said. Then, going to what Sheldon said, if that is the position that the board is taking, why doesn't the board comes out and say it? Why they don't come out and say, since Andre Coley is the academic coach, we are going to appoint him interim coach for these 2 series and give the next board the freeness to interview candidates for the job on a permanent basis. That would avoid all the speculation that we are having right now. It would avoid it. So it's just that the board need to say things. The board need to be transparent, and that is always our issue with the board. Breaker Benjamin is replying to Karis. Karis is replying back to coach setup. Coley should be in the youth setup. He has been doing a good job there. And again, people are questioning whether Coley is doing a good job in the youth setup. People are pointing to the fact that the academy team only win 1 match this year. And they are pointing to the fact that 2 or 3 years ago, the academy team won the whole thing. So they are asking, if he's doing a good job at the academy level, why is that the West Indies senior team performing so poorly? Is it that the players that you are sending through do not have the skill? So there are arguments on both sides. And I repeat again, I will say it again, I think that Coley is in the top 3 when it comes to coaches in the region. I think he's tactically and technically sound, but persons are asking about the talent coming out of the academy, and they have a right to. Breaker Benjamin, and so the conversation continue. It's Zimbabwe have 2 tall left armor, Raza and Balance gone with them. West Indies don't count all you out X. Zimbabwe have 2 tall left armor, Raza and Balance gone with them. West Indies don't count all you X. Yeah, I think you are saying that we should not count our chicken before they hatch. That's what they would say it in Jamaica. Don't count your chicken before they hatch. I understand that, and that's why I said that I'd probably give it at right now 50-50. The academy just opened up this year. Giovanni Reid, the academy just opened up this year. Now he has always been doing work with the young. He has always been doing work with the younger players, Giovanni. The next thing I want to ask. Now it appears that Chanderpaul is going to get this job. That's how it appears to me. It is no secret that during the CPL, Coley and Chanderpaul have a great difference between both of them, how they go about things. It is no longer a secret that if it was not for the skill of the Talawas manager, Jeff Miller, and CPL Iraqi, and I heard that one of the times even Cricket West Indies had to involve to negotiate peace between the 2 men. It's no longer a secret that Coley, the assistant coach of the Talawas, and Chanderpaul, the head coach, it is no longer a secret that during that CPL campaign, they never saw eye to eye on a number of things, and the tension between the two was really taut. The tension between them was very high. Is it that it's a compromise that West Indies is finding to give Coley the job for these 2 series before they appoint Chanderpaul after this series? Because why then would Chanderpaul advise USA Cricket that after the under-19 T20 World Cup, he will no longer be their coach of their females team? Why would you give up a lucrative job unless you are assured of another job? I don't see why Chanderpaul would have done that. And I think that as soon as the South Africa series is finished, then Chanderpaul would be appointed head coach of the West Indies cricket team. So that again, the fact that Coley is an interim, the fact that he never played Test cricket, and the fact, well, these are all, this is a speculation. This is a speculation. The speculation is that it is very likely that Chanderpaul has already been offered the job as West Indies coach. How comes we should expect a coach carrying those three burdens to get the best out of a West Indies cricket team with poor work ethics, where the players' egos are huge and where the players rule? Outcomes. Because the speculation on my part is that the only reason why Chanderpaul gave up his position, will be giving up his position as head coach of the USA female teams is because he had already assured of a job with Cricket West Indies. I don't think anyone would leave a job, would resign from a job, unless they are going into another job. I don't see it being practical. And being practical, that Chanderpaul, although he played over 100 test matches for the West Indies, he played at a time when there was not a lot of money in the game. And I'm not questioning his financial status here, but I'm saying that why would a man leave a lucrative job, not only a lucrative job, but a comfortable job? Why would you leave a comfortable job like coaching USA female teams? And I can tell you that West Indies under-19 female team cannot beat USA under-19 female team. They can't beat them. They can't. So it's a good looking job that Chanderpaul has. So why then leave that job and come to Cricket West Indies job? And leave that job, not to come to Cricket West Indies job. But why leave that job if you're not assured of something else? So I am speculating that he will be the next West Indies head coach, and that Coley will not be a part of the setup once Chanderpaul takes over. That is all my speculation. That is all my speculation. Let me look at your chat. Coley has been in development since 2010. Yes, it's right across the bottom there, Sheldon. It is right across the bottom there. Right across the bottom, scrolling across the bottom there. I said everything about that. Remember, Dave Cameron shut down the High Performance Center. The same High Performance Center that developed Mayers, Brathwaite, Older, Bonner, and many others. Bon Cameron. Okay, okay, Giovanni Reed. We welcome all opinions on this channel. So I read your opinion, and let me read it again. Remember, Dave Cameron shut down the High Performance Center. The same High Performance Center that developed Mayers, Brathwaite, Holder, Bonner, and many others. Bon Cameron. Okay, Giovanni Reed, thank you for your comment. I don't want to get in any controversy this morning because Cameron divide the region. Cameron presidency divide the region. So I don't want to get into that. Shiva's not going to get the job. It is just that nobody wants to work for USA Cricket. They have lost 6 people already. Thank you for that information, Sheldon. Thank you for that information. Thank you for that information, Sheldon. But I know that there are challenges in USA cricket. There are challenges in USA cricket. But people resigning from an entity, it always happens. And I know that there are challenges. There are a number of challenges in USA cricket. There was even a financial challenge not too long ago, just this year, when the CEO took $300,000 for his salary, but the players who played in the World Cup qualifiers did not get paid. So there's a number of challenges in USA cricket, and people always move on. But if you think that is the reason, Sheldon, we wait to see, Sheldon, because your views are always welcome. People also realize that Chanderpaul is only considering a possible West Indies spot only because of his son. Can't have a coach who now is interested only because of his son in the team. So there are contrasting opinions as always, and that's what makes this community great. Just before I go though, please slash a like on the video, share and subscribe. I just want to share a story with you before I go. And this is very sensitive to me. While I was a little boy going to school, and I was in 5th form, some say 11th grade, I had ADMATS CXC to do one Tuesday morning. ADMATS CXC. I was in 11th grade, finishing school. I had ADMATS to do the Tuesday morning. I did not have any money to go to school. My good friend and also a student, we were going to the same high school, Titchfield High School in Portland, a good friend of mine. Elvis King is the name. He gave me his lunch money and bus fare that day so that I could go and do my exam. And he went to the river. So instead of going to school, he gave me his lunch money and bus fare to go and do my exam. And he went to the river, spent all day at the river so that his grandmother never knew that he had not gone to school. But spending all day at the river, when he came back from the river, his grandmother saw that he was white, that he was in the water all day. And he got a proper flogging. He was flogged. He gave me his money so that I could go to school and do my exam. And when he got back home, he was flogged. I got news this morning that he had died. And I'm very sad today. It touched me. He died. The report I'm getting is that he fell sick. They took him to the hospital. He didn't spend 3 hours at the hospital and he died. And it's a difficult day for me today. A very, very, very difficult day for me today. But my Elvis King souls rest in peace. Please take care of your loved ones. Spend time with your family, please. Have a great day, everyone. One love, and take care. Have a good day.